The rich man didn't go to hell because he had money. And there's nothing wrong, nothing sinful about having wealth, nothing sinful about having comfort in your life, security. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's not why the man went to hell. He probably worked hard for his money. He probably did well. He was comfortable the whole bit. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a wonderful thing. A lot of Jesus' friends had money. Jesus was not a guy to sit back and say, pass up a good meal. He got invited to very many banquets in his life, and he said that was okay. Now, that's not why the rich man went to hell. That's the problem. There's nothing wrong with having money. It's what you do with your money which becomes the problem in your lives. So when I was a humble deacon, I was assigned to a very, very wealthy parish in Maryland. And in that parish, I had a parishioner who owned a Ferrari. And he used to let me drive his Ferrari. Because he drove the Ferrari all over the place. It's a nice thing. It's like, by the way, if you can afford a Ferrari, you should buy a Ferrari for yourselves. The people in the Ferrari companies need to eat too, So I was telling somebody that, oh yeah, so-and-so let me drive his Ferrari. It was kind of a cool thing to do in the whole bit. And so another person said, I have a Ferrari. He said, going to see my Ferrari? I said, I'd love to see your Ferrari. So I went to the guy's house, and he had a special garage where he had his Ferrari inside the garage, and little lights on it, very pretty, shiny, car just sitting there in this building. And I realized there's no garage door. I said, well, how do you get the Ferrari out of here to drive it? Oh, no, you don't drive this car. Oh, no, if you drove it, it would get dirty. It could get a dent. It could fall apart. This is a beautiful car. I got to keep it just like it is. Well, that's nice, but it's an automobile. One man had an automobile he drove. The other man had a really expensive ornament sitting there just serving no purpose at all, trying to hang on to the beauty of that one thing forever and ever. And the problem is that doesn't last. It's never going to last. That's the problem with trying to do that and hanging on to stuff. So the problem is what our friend Amos says in our first reading today. It's not having the money. It's complacency. Getting to that point of being comfort and secure in your life that, you know what? You don't want it to change. You want life to stay exactly that way, and you do everything to protect your lifestyle the way it is. And that's not going to happen. Because I had a grandfather, and maybe you people had this kind of older people in your life, who came up to you and they used to start their sentences off, back in my day, which is kind of weird, because I'm old now. And I have some old friends. You know what they say? Back in my day, which doesn't make any sense either, because it's just not the way it is. Now, just having money doesn't make you complacent. Life can make you complacent in different ways. I had people I've known in my life who, after they got their diplomas from school, said, they forced me to read every day. They forced me to study every day. I'm never going to crack a book open ever again in the rest of my life. I got that done. That's nice. I've had friends who sat back and get out of the military, and once they're discharged from the military, say, they used to force me to exercise every day in the military. I'm never going to run again. And I've had people I know say, I went to parochial schools and the whole bit. They made me go to church every day. I never have to talk to God ever again. I'm done. Back in my day, they say now. Because now they're angry and upset and frustrated over life because, there's technology out there now. They don't understand it. Why? They don't read. They didn't stay up with their learning. Life kept changing. For some peculiar reason, their health is not what it used to be, and for some reason, they're not the same weight they were back in high school. They're fat now. Why? They didn't exercise. And they're frustrated and angry and upset by life because they stopped praying and talking to God, because God said, you know what? The world's going to keep on turning. You want to hang on to the way things were in the past, you go right ahead. But it's going to keep turning without you, whether you like it or not. It's not going to stay the same. It's going to be different at all times. And that gets people frustrated because they didn't want to change. They want to keep things the way they are. And they want to make other people do things the way they used to have it. And that's not going to happen either. And it's not just old people who get complacent like that. It's easy for us old people. It's easy for the rich people to get complacent, but that's not it. Young people can get complacent too. A couple weeks ago, I had to go to my nephew's wedding, attend my nephew's wedding. And my nephew, he's an idiot. Now, I really don't know the man that well in the whole bit, but it's obvious he's an idiot. Because for those of you who've been married, ever gone to a wedding? Anybody here ever gone to a wedding before? Okay. There's certain things people do at weddings. The wedding was on a Sunday. I was going down Saturday morning. Friday, my sister-in-law calls me up because my nephew forgot to buy a suit. I bought a new suit for this wedding. My brother bought a new suit for this wedding. The groom, he lives with his bride-to-be and her mother. You think someone would have said, by the way, what do you plan to wear at this thing? Yeah, you know what? What do I do? Why? He's an idiot. My sister-in-law said, I recommend going and buying a suit for yourself. How do I do that? Go to a suit store. So the kid got himself a suit. And that was fine. My brother picked me up at the airport on Saturday morning and the whole bit. I said, oh, did he get a suit? Yeah, but we have to pick up one other item. There's one other item he forgot to get. I said, really, what was that? Wedding rings. Idiot. Oh, I didn't know I needed those. So we bought the cheapest rings we could find for him, because my brother and I are both really cheap. We're nice. But you know, his bride-to-be wasn't the brightest bulb in the tree either. One, she's marrying him, which kind of bothered me too. It's like, because she and her mother had planned out everything for this wedding. I don't know if you ever been to a wedding before. They had the dress, the flowers, everything's all timed, the music's, everything is, everything's fine, except, of course, the groom, who's an idiot. Yeah, so everything's all timed out there. They had it in a beautiful setting on top of this mountain where, you know, we old people have to get to. And we finally get up there, carried a few other people up the mountain. We get to the mountaintop. And the menu was picked out, of course, by the bride. It was food that she loved. None of us could eat it. Some kind of weird Indian vegan thing. It was an Outback Steakhouse down the street. We took care of ourselves later. Don't panic about it. And they danced to this music that, you know, back in my day, we had no idea what they were playing there. But she seemed to have a good time because it was her day. Yeah, she looked good. She looked good because it was all about her, you see, because the guests didn't really matter if we enjoyed ourselves or not. Didn't really matter if we had any fun, because it was about her. Both her and my nephew were complacent. And maybe someday they'll change. Because I don't know, and everything was exactly the same as your wedding, right? Nothing's changed a bit, right? Yeah, because, you know, and the people say that to the bride, oh, this is the best day of your life. It's downhill from here. Yeah, complacency. It's one of those weird things that happen in our life, and sadly, we have to sit back and continue doing that on a regular basis because, you know, we got to sit back and keep ourselves in line because complacency will get us to hell. See, the rich man didn't go to hell because of the money. He went to hell because he became complacent. He knew Lazarus' name. He knew that Lazarus was outside his house. He knew that Lazarus had problems. What he didn't do was care. He could care less about Lazarus' problems. Why? I got mine, Jack. He needs to take care of himself. And God says, go to hell. You know, we're not called to save the world. We're not called to sit back and change everything out there. That's not our job. Our job is to pay attention, to be obvious what's going on around us. If you have something to help, help. Trust me, they'll approach you. You'll know who these people are. You know, it wasn't that hard to sit back and say, fine, we'll go buy a wedding ring. You know, I got the money in my pocket. I'll buy this jerk a wedding ring. You know, and I got to sit back and use it in a sermon, so I got my thing out of it. But that's all right. So that's what it comes down to do. It's what we have to do in our life. Because, you know, I had one grandfather who told me, and I go,